All right, folks, it is April 24th, 2026, and of course, a lot's going on in the world and around the world, and we'll be talking about that here on the Pod TV and all along those lines. There's definitely more news around the Israel Lebanon ceasefire. Hopes rise for renewed U.S. Iran talks as there's apparently conversations with Tehran's foreign minister. So Hedges says blockade turned around 34 ships, I should say, and Trump says Israel and Lebanon ceasefire has been extended by 3 weeks. So it looks like Israel and Lebanon have extended their ceasefire amid the uncertainty in Hormuz. So definitely that's something that's going on as well. U.S. soldier is arrested for alleged insider betting on a Maduro capture. So U.S. soldier charged after winning $400,000 betting on the removal of Maduro. So his U.S. soldier has been charged with using classified intel to win his $400,000 poly market bet on the Maduro raid. So definitely that's something going on, as we know people have interest in bets on poly market and all along those lines. So that's some new news that is coming out of the military and all in that space. So lots going on in the world, and of course we'll be talking about that here as well. Pentagon email floats suspending Spain from NATO and other steps over Iran rift. The sources are saying. So Sanchez is dismissing the U.S. notion of suspending Spain from NATO. And definitely folks are even asking what to know about the Falkland Islands as U.S. considers reassessing position on that particular property. So Downing Street says sovereignty of Falkland Island rests with the UK after a leaked Pentagon report, according to UK Politics Live. And top Iran diplomats set to travel to Pakistan for talks on ceasefire with the U.S. Iran sending delegation to Pakistan for talks, sources say, and Iran chief diplomat to visit Pakistan as Trump talks up blockade. Iran foreign minister to head to Islamabad, the venue of the U.S. talks. And Benjamin Netanyahu has been successfully treated for a prostate tumor. Netanyahu said he hid the prostate cancer from public because of the Iran war. Israeli Benjamin Netanyahu says he was treated for prostate cancer and is now healthy. So it looks like he's been treated for early stage and everything like that. So he reveals he quietly underwent treatment for an undisclosed prostate cancer and all in that way. So there's definitely something going on there as well. Solutions, not slogans. Gaza holds the first election in 21 years. Gaza is set to hold the first local election in 2 decades. In Gaza, the first local vote in years offers gauge of Hamas popularity. So there's even been a statement at Relief Web by the UN Deputy Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process ahead of the Palestinian local elections. And as we said yesterday, the EU approves a $106 billion loan to help Ukraine after Hungary lifts its veto. Makai Lemon will face pressure like Mike Mamalo did after Reggie White. So Daspa pipeline restarts Russia oil flow to Europe, unblocking $105 billion EU loan for Kyiv. So it looks like there'll be some oil flowing in that area. And China places EU defense and aerospace firms on the export control list. So China bans dual-use items exports to 7 European entities over the Taiwan arms sale. So that's something that folks are talking about as well. And Trump attacks against NATO allies is painful, says a former NATO chief. Europeans asked what would it mean to defend one another without NATO. European Union is ramping up crisis testing, convinced that Trump's security priorities lie elsewhere. So Europe is accelerating a NATO fallback plan in case Trump pulls out. And businesses dole out up to $4 million to cross the Panama Canal during the Strait of Hormuz. Iran war drives some ships to pay $1 million to transit the Panama Canal. Panama Canal says 1 million plus auction slots reflect a temporary surge in demand. And Iran takes seized ships to port. Countries check on seafarer safety. And Iran seizes a pair of container ships in the first since the start of the war with the U.S. and Israel. Iran is escalating its Hormuz tit for tat, seizes ship tied to billionaire close to Trump and Macron. So it looks like there's a lot of things going on in that way as well. Putin's approval rating falls to the lowest since before Ukraine war, state pollster says. So Steve Rosenberg, Kremlin's tightening grip on internet fuels Russian discontent. So that's something people are talking about as well. And Chernobyl liquidators returned to where they faced an invisible enemy. Nuclear power, have we finally found a useful use for it? Let's ask the wolf, the first dog on the moon. So scientists are still learning from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster that took place many decades ago. So Chernobyl first responders say few survive 40 years on. So, like I said yesterday, Israeli strike killed a journalist and injured another in Lebanon. Going to bring in Sharif, see what he's got going on in his world and all along those lines, and how he's doing and everything in that space. So, how are you doing, Sharif? Lots going on in the world. There was even multiple tornadoes that touched down in northern Oklahoma. So, a video showed moment twin tornadoes formed in northern Oklahoma, and tornadoes roared through Enid, Oklahoma, destroying homes and forcing Air Force bases to close. So lots going on in that way and everything like that. Top Iran diplomat is set to travel to Pakistan for talks on ceasefire with the U.S. as well. And India is criticizing Donald Trump for sharing a hellhole remark. So Trump's true social repost calling India a hellhole draws anger and pushback. India voices anger after Trump shares comments calling it a hellhole, and India is definitely denouncing that and everything like that. So it looks like there's lots going on, including that soldier that got arrested for making a poly market bet. So, how are you doing, Sharif?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So, you got a big conference coming up. Tell us about that conference again. I know it's coming up soon
Yeah,
and everything like that. So,
yeah,
that conference going to be, and what kind of speakers are you going to have? Just tell us a little bit about the conference.
yeah. Thank you. Actually, in 2 hours, we will start our conference. Our conference fully focus on finance and innovation. Most important factor is that Bangladesh definitely a small country. We have a Nobel Prize winner like Dr. Mohammad Yunus. So he win Nobel Prize for microfinance. So I think 17 years before I worked with microfinance institutions. My professor, Professor Baki Khalili, he was part of this Nobel Prize winning team, and he do all of the innovative research and everything for microfinance. So he will join as a keynote speaker. Secondly, World Talent Economic Forum, we are also working with university, especially in university and academic relationship for that particular issues. Uh, we are working with Asia Pacific University. Their board of trustees chairman. He's a legendary business person in Bangladesh. Also, he is a group of companies like Shah Group of Companies. It's a multi-billion-dollar company from Bangladesh, but it has presence in MENA, in USA, and everywhere. Uh, and also the TAS Group of companies. It's the largest aviation industries in Bangladesh. So he will join as a he will join as a chief guest for this conference. Beside that, from Global North, specifically from Silicon Valley, from Stanford University, from IBM chairman Chris Kondos, from Tandos, definitely I want to invite you all from Hot TVs. Many famous people they will join. And basically, our conference we publish our papers, scientific papers through these innovative academic research publishers. It's based in France and Paris. I also work as a professor for Paris Graduate School. So through this program and through these innovative programs, we are developing a North-South corridor. How the South Asia as well as this North America, we can work together. We can go for open business and we can go for business collaboration through this process. We are bringing two type of commitment. One is like urban innovation commitment. So there is around $100 billion uh, commitment for smart cities and this kind of projects through this program, and another one for startup ecosystem development, as I am working with lot of young peoples. So we also develop these north south corridors, like European Union, North America, and they work in this ecosystem. Also these Nobel Prize winning teams, and we also invite them to join in this ecosystem. So it's proposed around $500 million for our startup ecosystem and for startup. So this is the things, like I do focus on talent economy. We need a fair platforms, we need an ecosystem, we need economy, and most important factor is that we need global peace. Because this kind of tension, what we are observing in Middle East, it's create a very negative impact country like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and so on. So this is actually the way of model, a model for the global community. How? we can work for global peace, how we can work for talent economy, and how we can create a mainstream media like Pop TV and create a very positive impact. So this is the things I'm doing right now. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
your
that makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, some countries are accusing other countries of doing illegal things and all along those lines. So I don't know how y'all are doing in terms of AI research, but I did see that I guess yesterday the White House accused China of industrial scale theft of AI technology. So I guess that they're saying that China is copying the American AI models in the industrial scale campaign, whether that's Claude or whether that's ChatGPT or a number of others. But I guess they're making their own versions, like copycat versions and everything like that. So the White House memo yesterday claimed mass AI theft by Chinese firms. So how big is AI in your country, and are you using the more traditional AI, or are they developing their own AI models?
Actually, AI right now they are creating a very strategic impact in Bangladesh and in India and South Asia. And like I'm just observing from this Indian market, Bangladesh basically a garments industry. So in this garments industry, you see that AI actually integrating. AI model also integrating. So there is a chance country like Bangladesh they may lose their job because of AI integration and deployment. So what I'm doing, the wisdom affairs like talent economy dialogue and podcast is the wisdom affairs that you have to utilize human wisdom in an effective way. And this is my honest opinion. Let's say if you see that 90% of AI projects and startup it's not accurate, human wisdom is a more accurate and more perfect. Let's say Mark, a long time you are doing podcast, you have knowledge, you have expertise, you have your education. Through this process you build up your wisdom. So wisdom is something which is very very efficient and effective to run the company, run society, run university, run government, and so on. So in the AI era, I think definitely we will welcome artificial intelligence, we will welcome technologies. Definitely we are observing in Silicon Valley and everywhere many people lose their job because of AI integrations and so on. So we have to protect human, we have to protect human capacity, we have to protect human economy and so on. If human do not survive, the economy will not survive. For that issues I do favor for human wisdom, which is very very important, which is very very reliable. I do research and I identified let's say agricultural sector, energy sectors, and so on. And I find that the people, even though they, if they do not have education, they grow their wisdom, and through their wisdom they run their economy. So the global supremacy, the global corporations, and the global ecosystem, we should focus on human wisdom, what Mark you have, what our audience have. So we should not ignore these things. Yes, AI is important, strategic AI deployment for improving efficiency and effective is important. On the other hand, you have to manage AI. Human has to manage and control AI through their wisdom, through their policy. This is also very important. That's why we are looking for ethical AI and ethical standard of the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense and everything. I was seeing another interesting article, and I'll read a little bit about it. But I mentioned on earlier this week about how I had seen a film of where the glaciers are disappearing because of the climate and everything like that. And apparently, there's an article now that's saying the Great Salt Lake, which is in Utah, and I know that our one of our founders, Nick, has ties to Utah. Part of his company is based there and everything like that. But they were saying that at its peak, the Great Salt Lake, located right outside of the state capital of Salt Lake City, was bigger than the state of Delaware, covering roughly 2,300 square miles with a thriving ecosystem, and the main reason Utah claimed to have the greatest snow on Earth. Now, due to severe water shortage, and we're actually having a water shortage even here in Durham, North Carolina, and the water shortage in Utah was caused by excessive water consumption and lackluster winters. The lake is a shadow of what it once was. It's being labeled Utah's environmental nuclear bomb, and it has the attention of the President of the United States. As a matter of fact, he wrote on True Social on February 27th, very important to save the Great Salt Lake in Utah. This is an environmental hazard that must be worked on immediately. It is of tremendous interest to me. And then he ended the post with a twist on his trademark slogan, "Make the lake great again." But like the article said, a man from New York City then conveniently stumbled upon a big dying salty lake located in the arid mountain west the issue landed in front of Trump because someone in his inner circle gave him a nudge, which led to the meeting. It led to a meeting and a chance to do something no country has ever accomplished: the successful restoration of a terminal saline lake. So the survival of the lake, the largest of its kind in the Western Hemisphere, has been a priority for Utah leaders over the last several years, but they knew it couldn't conquer the colossal task on its own. So they need help from people in different countries, maybe even countries like yours and everything like that. But I just wanted your take on this way that the climate is impacting us, whether it's the Salt Lake disappearing or the glaciers disappearing or a number of other things that are disappearing, because they're saying that what once was water lies more than what was once water lies more than 1,000 square miles of exposed lake bed. So the parched play is filled with heavy metals and toxins such as arsenic that can pose respiratory health risks to approximately 2.5 million people here in this area. And the toxic dust is floating to neighboring states such as Wyoming and Idaho during strong wind events. And I know we've been having some problems, like even with our coastal lands here in North Carolina and Virginia and South Carolina. But I just wondering, how are y'all doing in terms of environmental concerns in your area? Because that's just an example,
Yeah,
one example.
yeah. Thank you. Actually, environment is a very challenging issues right now. Let's say right now we have our heat wave in Bangladesh, heavy heat wave. So we are suffering a lot. Why this heat wave and other things is happening? Because of climate change, right? Because of this, all of the challenging issues happening in the in our environment. So for that particular issues, what I'm observing, that Bangladesh need to focus on their environment. Bangladesh need to focus on their climate issues. Bangladesh need to focus on their river life and river balance and so on. That's why our Prime Minister, Mr. Tariq Rahman, he do focus on this our ecosystem of the river, and also he is focusing on the green innovations like green technologies like the more tree plantations. So I believe that if, as we have 171 million people, if we can focus on green environment, if we focus on go for the green ecosystem development, that is important. Besides that, we need to work together with India. Like India has Himalayas, the glacier melting happening in the Himalaya. Secondly, we have Conga also a very strong ecosystem, river ecosystem for India and for Bangladesh. So it goes as a Podda in our country and this Bay of Bengal. So this ecosystem, we need to go for making a urban innovations. We have to go for the green innovations, and we have to build up our tree plantations ecosystem and so on. And this is also important, like the emerging economy, we are looking for funding and investment. So the North American ally, they can invest for the green energy and green technologies in Bangladesh. Secondly, they can help us to grow our economic system. So this kind of scientific innovation, scientific collaboration, and scientific partnerships is very, very important and so on. And beside that, the media, how you playing the role, right? You are bringing all of the important and interesting aspect in your podcast. This is also important because we need to create awareness. If much people do not involve with this awareness, the positive things, understanding what is happening, it never happens. So I believe that through this process, country like Bangladesh, we can survive. But right now, we have our major challenges with energy. We have our major challenges with our economy, specifically with this Middle East crisis. So global peace is very important, and USA can play a major role, as Bangladesh is a very good ally for USA.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a major ally and everything like that. How big are unions in your country and everything like that? Because I saw that a professor union is going fast because they're ramping up their fight against Trump. So that's like labor rights and everything like that. So the Trump administration's pressure on higher education are shaping negotiations, and they're even saying that education's decline is corroding a pillar of the left power. That's what the New York Post, which is a conservative paper, is claiming and everything like that. But I'm just wondering, are unions big in your country, and are there a lot of people that are trying to do labor rights and everything like that? Because I know that sometimes there can be, you know, abuse of people, whether it's women or whether it's other folks that are not getting paid what they are worth and everything like that. So that's part of what is being done when you have labor conversations, is they're trying to make sure that everybody's being treated fairly and everything like that. But I'm just wondering, how is that going in your area, and is there a lot of conversations around labor rights?
The labor right is very strong in Bangladesh. Why? This is because of European Union and the North American alignment and so on. Because our economy, specifically the industrial area, it do focus on garments industry, and we have lot of foreign buyer from USA, from North European Union. So when they buy our products from Bangladesh, especially from the garments industry, they implement these labor laws and everything, labor safety, securities, and so on. Yeah, previously we have different kind of challenges with this labor and labor related things, but with the collaborations, with the partnerships of European Union, Japan, and North America, it's actually very productive. I do not want to say it's 100% perfect, but it's in improving positions through our government agencies, through our human resource development organizations, through our Bangladesh HR, yeah, like communities and so on. So this is strong, and hopefully day by day it will be more productive, and our policy for human resource development and policy for these labor laws will be implemented, and it can bring more success story for our economy.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know you said that you visited California and I think you visited New York and everything like that. But I was wondering, have you ever visited the state capitol? Because I know that Trump is trying to renovate the White House, or the place where he lives at right now, or at least spent part of his time. And now he's talking about he's going to renovate the what he calls the filthy reflecting pool on the National Mall. So he says he's renovating that National Mall pool and everything like that. So he says he's going to resurface the bottom of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, turning it blue, and he rambles on about sending his pool guy to restore this historic monument. But I just wondering if you yourself had ever visited DC, and what are some of the things that you like about DC? Like I've been to the DC, I've been to the Native American Museum. I think I went to the Space Museum. The African American Museum hadn't been built, or if it was built, it was only in its early stages. So when Obama got inaugurated, I did not go to that particular one, but I do remember going to aeronautics, I believe, and to the Native American one and everything like that. But I was wondering, have you been there? And if so, which place of DC did you enjoy going to? I also went to a comedy club there one time as well, and a couple of
Uh,
other, including a
yeah,
nice Ethiopian restaurant.
yeah, thank you. Very good questions. Actually, I love USA. Basically, I love California. My major focus in California, because I am actually a scientist and inventors. I do focus on economical model developments with the Stanford Product Realization Lab, and with the San Jose, what we call Swinson Family or Solar Skyway. So for that particular issues, I do have to focus on, because my work is very focused. I do not have enough opportunity to explore all of the USA. But definitely, next time when I come back to USA, definitely I do explore with your advice to this White House and everything. But I'm actually a big fan of policy and politics. So I told you I was part of debating communities.
Mhm.
So I learned a lot through this Obama and Bill Clinton. So if you invite Bill Clinton, Obama, or any of the high quality politicians in your shows, definitely I want to join, because I was big fan for them, even from Bangladesh.
Cool. Well, let me get to some U.S. news. Stick around with me and everything like that, and then I may have some other questions for you. And of course, we'll be hopefully having some other people join us. But let me just get to some of the news from the U.S. really quickly and everything like that that I did not get to the last time, other than that soldier that was involved in the pollen market bet and everything like that. So Hedges just sent an alarming message to the rest of the world, is what the Slate is reporting. So the status of the key munitions at the Iran war ceasefire. Iran war has strained U.S. supplies of critical, costly weapons. U.S. is at risk of running out of missiles if another war breaks out after depleting the stockpile in the Iran operations. And Angelina Han Hicks was arrested for alleged Houston synagogue plot. The teen girl was charged in a conspiracy plot to kill as many Jews as possible. The North Carolina woman, Houston area teen, accused the plot against Congregation Beth Israel. And two young people were arrested in the alleged plot to attack the Houston synagogue. And definitely they're saying the North Carolina woman and Harris County juvenile arrested after allegedly planning that attack on the Houston Jewish school, according to the FBI. And Trump is ordering the U.S. military to shoot and kill Iranian boats mining Strait of Hormuz. And it looks like some people are saying, including those at the New York Times, that the Iran war is morphing into a volatile standoff in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. military developing plans to target Iran Strait of Hormuz defenses if a ceasefire fails. And the tariff refund process has begun for businesses. What about consumers? Tariff refunds in sight as importers start signing up. And a repeat of the pandemic era fraud crisis is looming, is what the Washington Post is saying. So, some people got money that they weren't supposed to get money and things like that. And I think there's a fear that that might happen again. So, companies, not consumers, to cash in big from the tariff refunds is what's being reported by the New York Times. And DeSantis plots end run of Florida law to create more GOP House seats. So after Virginia won some seats, it looks like it's Florida's turn, and of course they will probably be trying to do it more Republican-wise and everything like that. So the redistricting fight turns to Florida and the courtroom for frustrated Republicans. Republicans are pressuring Ron DeSantis to redistrict in Florida after Virginia Democrats win. Lame duck Jeffries rips DeSantis after Florida invitation as redistricting fight is heating up. And one dead, five injured, and several in custody in a Mall of Louisiana shooting that took place on yesterday, and all along those lines. And Trump's Navy Secretary ousted over dispute about ships rebuilding, or about shipbuilding. And Trump's dream for a battleship led to his Navy Secretary's ouster. So fire and fears ripple through Mean Girls Pentagon is what a quote is saying out of Axios. So looks like that's going on as well. And it looks like, and we've actually got some shows out of Kansas City. I know that that's where the show about bullying is based at and everything like that. At least one of the hosts is there in Kansas City. But they're saying Kansas City Metro was hammered by rain, thunderstorms, and tornado warnings on the Thursday night. So tracking severe thunderstorms across the Kansas City Metro Thursday night, and hopefully our host there, Stephanie Hockenhall, is doing well. I'll have to reach out to her and see how she's doing. I think they're supposed to be having a show this week, but we'll see how that plays out, depending on how the weather impacted them and everything like that. I've been taking a ton of risk inside Jim Himes' mission to save a key spy authority, is what was being reported in Politico. So after two failed votes, Mike Johnson unveils new plan to extend key U.S. spy powers. And want to read an American's email? Get a warrant. So apparently it's easy, or you can find ways that you can actually read people's email, even though that's supposed to be private and everything like that. So former FBI General Counsel Wiseman on FISA reforms, and the federal government has reclassified medical marijuana, as we talked about as well. And I mentioned the storms in Kansas, where there are wildfires burning across Georgia and Florida. So Kemp Detour wildfire damage in South Georgia as fires remain less than 20% contained. Strict burn bans even restrict grilling outside. So if you plan to get in some summer grilling, you might have some restrictions in that area. So 87 homes now destroyed and evacuations expanded as firefighters banned to contain a 5,000-acre Brantley County wildfire. So that's a big wildfire and everything like that. So we'll see how this all plays out. In Tennessee, police are investigating after finding bones believed to be from three children. And the fuel shortage from the Iran war are hitting California and the West Coast. California's jet fuel stockpile is a 2-year low as the war strangles oil supplies. So that's something that folks are talking about as well. So definitely lots going on in the world, even the world here in the U.S. and all along those lines. So there's a lot taking place and a lot of things that people are paying attention to and that they are concerned about and all in that way. So there's a lot going on in the world. And how is the weather in Bangladesh? How is y'all's weather? I mentioned a couple of storms. I think y'all had like a major typhoon not that long ago and everything like that. So how's the weather going in your neck of the woods?
Uh, if you ask me the weather situations, it's actually very tough because of we have heat wave right now, and honestly speaking, we also have like electricity related challenge because of these energy sources and so on. This is very tough time actually for Bangladesh. Definitely, when we discuss about weather, this is very tough time for Bangladesh, and hopefully we can overcome from this situation. But definitely, we need to stop this war, and we need to overcome from these challenging situations. Yeah.
How are things going in terms of housing? Because I know that Bangladesh is a much poorer country than the U.S. and some of the other First Nation countries and everything like that. But I'm even seeing that in New York, Mamdani has launched a deed theft prevention office with the appointment of an activist. But New York City Councilman and Mamdani Ali Allah Chi Aussie was arrested during eviction protests, is what a video is showing, and everything like that. Because he was apparently thrown to the ground by the New York Police Department. And I actually just saw here recently we had one of our homeless encampments raided by the local police and everything like that. So I think they shut that encampment down, and we're getting rid of some of the folks that were staying there in terms of that being a place that they could stay there. Hopefully, they found them other housing, or they might have even put some of them in jail. I'm not sure, but I do know there was a raid and all in that way. But how are the homeless situation handled in Bangladesh, or is there a major homeless area issue there in your country?
Look, Bangladesh is a Islamic country, so
Mhm.
our people actually heavily practice this Islamic finance and so on. So we have to pay for zakat, right, every year. So you can find because of this zakat, our poor peoples, and we have heavily practiced our people actually practice this zakat. So we do not have so called like lot of homeless people in our countries compared to USA and other countries because we have different kind of mosque. We have more than 300,000 mosques. People can get and go for economic activities through this mosque. Secondly, government has different kind of initiative, especially right now our Bangladesh government, our prime minister providing card like family card, agricultural card, social security cards. Our so through this process, people are getting some sort of money. If you see this compared to USA, actually, US is very expensive, right? Very expensive USA. Bangladesh is not so expensive like USA. But as even another interesting things, yes, we have many poor people, but through this microfinance, what we are discussing today, uh, many of the poor people in our economy, they are actually overcoming from the situations. So, for this kind of diversified activities, like religious activities, like government initiative, like CSR activities, as well as this NGO activities, this is actually helping Bangladesh in a sustainable economy compared to other countries. But because of these Rohingya issues, we actually get lot of people through from Rohingya, Myanmar, and we have many immigrant in our countries, more than millions. So this is also another challenging thing. Yes, we have lot of challenges, but still I want to say we have a peaceful nations. For that issues, we are making a meaningful economy, and which is actually very effective. So that's why today's conference can give you a very interesting understanding about Bangladesh, very interesting understanding about microfinance, and this is the beautiful things in our country. So we have poor people, that is true, but we do not have the super poor who will be homeless because of the religious activities, because of this NGO activities. So this is vibrant nations and peaceful nations.
That makes a lot of sense. You'll be glad to know because there was actually honored, I think about a week or two ago and everything like that. But Al Rasak Islamic Center, formerly Temple Number 34, was established in the 1950s on Pettigrew Street, which is part of our Black Wall Street, and all along those lines. And it is actually recognized as North Carolina's first mosque, acting as a historic hub for Black Muslims. I think that both Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali visited here and everything like that. And I'm actually, as you can tell, at the Cultural Arts Center that I work at and everything like that. And they'll actually be showing a film about Brother Yusef Salim, who is a celebrated jazz musician and a leader in the Durham's cultural scene, but also a practicing Muslim and everything like that. So he was a key community figure closely tied to the mosque history and its leaders. So definitely, it started at a storefront on Pettigrew Street before growing into a permanent West End institution here in Durham. So on its 70th anniversary, which was just held recently, the mosque earned a North Carolina history marker acknowledging its role in civil rights community service because they did refugee relief food programs and its evolution. So it was definitely historically linked to Imam Kenneth and Murray Muhammad, but definitely looks like a lot of people there because actually the brother Yusuf was born Joseph Oliver Blair in Baltimore and moved to Durham in 1974, becoming a beloved jazz icon. And he founded a thing called the Salam Cultural Center, and as a mentor, he helped build a thriving jazz scene in Durham and was known as a community connector. So he's kind of a connector, kind of like I am, and everything like that. So the legacy of both the mosque and Brother Yusuf has been celebrated by Duke Earth and other organizations. But like I said, there's going to be a film called Moonchild that'll be shown on this coming Thursday, so about 6 days from now, and that'll be about his legacy and even how he did some building of bridges and all along those lines because he was actually known as being an encourager and definitely a connector and all in that kind of way. So I'm glad to say that that is a piece of Islamic history that's local that you may be interested in seeing and everything like that. But for those that are interested, and hopefully we'll have a chance to show the film in other places, including internationally and everything like that, because I do know they want to distribute it around the world because he was definitely an important figure and all along those lines. And a friend of both my dad's and my mom's. I tell you, even myself and my younger brother were all friends of Brother Yusef. He did have a couple of inner demons, as a lot of musicians do, but hey, that's just part of what goes on in life and everything like that. But if somebody wanted to see or attend the conference, you said the conference is starting today. How long is the conference going for? And if they
Yes.
can't fly to
Uh,
Bangladesh, how can they watch the conference or how can they learn about the conference? Are you going to air the conference on your YouTube? And will it be chances for people to attend if they can't make it from to Bangladesh?
Yes, actually, it will be remote, definitely, today's conference.
Hmm.
So, and I already share through this Pod TV, and people can see through Pod TV our conference as well as through our YouTube channel. They can observe and they can edit. I already share in your email.
Okay.
And most important thing is that in between 6 months we are organizing two conference. One is our like innovative Bangladesh conference. So we are inviting 30 different countries peoples, like country head, different countries prime ministers, as well as different countries business organizations and corporations. So I will invite you all in Bangladesh. Also, we do focus on healthcare issues because healthcare is a very important aspect for Bangladesh, and healthcare economy also very important. So we need to focus on that particular issues. So hopefully, when you visit Bangladesh, I will invite you and all of our friend in Port TV. You really enjoyed Bangladesh, and you will get a very good network and relationship and business relationship in Bangladesh through our conference. And if people want to know our scientific research through Innovative Academic Research Publishers website, they can see our scientific research and observation and so on. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. They can do that and everything. By the way, ICE is very much in the news as well. So, judge is ordering ICE to release family of Colorado firebombing suspects. A federal judge prevents the deportation of accused Boulder firebomber's family, then orders their release. A woman and her five children has been released from the longest ICE detention of a family under Trump. So they had been in detention for a while, and the family had been held the longest in immigration, but they were released on yesterday and everything like that. And Collins and Republicans are advanced 70 billion for ICE and border patrols. So the GOP senators are ratcheting up pressure on Speaker Johnson to quickly end the DHS shutdown. So Senate Republicans clear go it alone pass for ICE funding, and it looks like they're trying to get some funding to keep the funding going and all along those lines. So we'll see how this all plays out as well. I've got Kimberly joining us. We're going to see what Kimberly's got on her mind and everything like that. We've been talking about a lot of stuff, including ICE and including what's going on in the world and everything like that. It's just me and Dr. Sharif today. We even mentioned that later on and next week, Brother Youssef, who was a major figure in one of the first mosques here in North Carolina, but also a noted jazz musician, will be showing his film Moonchild here at the Hayti Heritage Center. So it'll be honoring a legacy person in terms of our musical and jazz legacies and everything like that, because he passed away back in I think it was 2008 when Brother Youssef passed and everything like that. So he's been gone a while, but his legacy lives on. There's a number of the jazz people here, even in this community, that remember his music, and even some of his people, like Freeman Ledbetter, also passed away not that long ago. But I think Elbert Gibson, who's a jazz artist, and Peter Jeffries, and definitely some of the people at Central and Duke are aware of his legacy and the importance of him to not just the local music community, but just the music community in general. He lived a pretty good life. He lived to be up to 79 because he lived to 2008 and was born in 1929. So he was definitely a true legacy person and all along those lines. So glad that they're honoring him. Hey, Kim, did you see that Trump's at it again? He's trying to rebuild something. So he wants to, well, first off, the National Mall had more news because the Metro bus caught fire under the National Mall. A hybrid diesel fleet was pulled and the tunnel was closed and everything like that. So that just happened earlier yesterday and everything like that. So
How did it catch on fire?
that's a good question because they said ninth straight tunnel stays closed after a metro bus fire. DC traffic delays continued on Friday. So the bus fire. Let me see how they caught on fire. I can get a story from the because here's the latest from the USA Today and everything like that. Friday morning commuters are still dealing with the effects from a fire and everything like that. But I'm trying to see how it took place and why it took place, and all along those lines. Caught a metro bus caught fire in the Ninth Street Tunnel under the National Mall on Thursday evening, causing heavy smoke. What caused the not the fire? The exact cause of the metro bus fire remains unknown, though officials believe it was triggered by a mechanical issue. And I do know it's one that goes on buses that they can have mechanical issues, and sometimes they can be scary. 'Cause I've even been on buses when they've broken down and had issues, and all along those lines. So yes, it's probably just a mechanical issue in this particular case. And they said no passengers were on board, and the operator escaped safely. So it's probably at a time that there was low traffic and everything like that. So it looks like it was a matter of fact, they announced the removal of all 32 hybrid diesel buses from the fleet for safety inspection. So it looks like they're going to try to make sure that all of the buses are in good shape and all along those lines. But I was telling Sharif earlier that speaking of Trump and all and the National Mall, that apparently he's thinking that he wants to bring his pool man to fix the reflecting pool. I know you just came from DC, but he's saying that the national pool is on the National Mall is filthy, and he wants to bring his. He rambled about sending his pool guy to restore the historic Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, and he also wants to turn it blue. I don't know why he wants to turn it blue. That's not even the color I don't think of the Republicans. I think their color is supposed to be red and everything like that. But apparently, he wants to change the color of the reflecting blue uh,
And,
pool.
you
You
know,
just came from
the blood flows, right?
you just came
The
from
first
DC.
thing
So
I
what?
think of is some of the scriptures where the blood flows through the river, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that in the story of Moses.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think anything he wants to do just doesn't get done anyway. I mean, we started the war. We're not going to be able to finish the war. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do, but he started he demolition the White House. It looks like a war zone, and that's not going to get finished. What has he started that has been finished? And hiring his people? No, absolutely, positively no.
Well,
There
apparently
were
he wants to.
people. There were people already hired to take care of that. Why are we not using them? Hi, Jacoby.
Hey, Jacoby, let me bring Jacoby in. Yeah, we're talking about this. Jacoby, apparently the White House wants to now set their eyes on the pool, the water pool there at the National Mall. So now he wants to fix the pool there, and he's saying he's going to bring his pool guy from Margo Lago or something like that. And apparently he's also looking at targeting the Falkland Islands and renegotiating the contract that existed with the Falkland Islands and everything like that. So apparently we're also looking at the Falkland Islands. I mean, we were looking at Greenland. We've looked at other places. I don't think they got a lot of oil in the Falkland Islands. So why he wants the Falkland Islands is beyond me. But apparently we're having some conversations around the U.S. and its role in the Falkland Islands. But what's your thoughts on his latest endeavors, for lack of a better term?
He's looking at it as a resort. That's what the Falkland Islands are. He wants a resort. He needs another Epstein resort.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And what
Everything
he's
he
doing,
does, yeah.
yeah, what he's doing with the Washington, it's just being very. He's just turning it into another trashy hotel that he creates.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just, yeah, no
Well, the
doubt. But
thing is Washington. He demolitioned um the White House there, and it looks like a war zone. It's never going to get finished. Now he wants to use military funds to finish it by saying that they're going to put, military whatever underneath, and that it needs to be done and has to be done. And so now he's trying to manipulate military funds to do that. He's just a complete hogwash. I mean, I don't know why he's still in office. It's disappointing to me as a U.S. citizen that we have tolerated as much as we have, but we have allowed so much destruction by this man that there's no return. There will be no return.
I hear you. There's no return and everything like that. I wish Nick was here because I understand that there is some idea that maybe Spain is going to get suspended or from NATO and everything like that. And I know that's his new home and everything like that. So apparently Sanchez is dismissing the U.S. notion of suspending Spain from NATO. So are we trying to break up NATO and just break it up totally, like get rid of Spain, withdraw of the U.S. itself? So we just trying to disband NATO. And what's up with this?
That's what the Board of Peace is supposed to be. He doesn't like NATO because he can't rule NATO.
Right.
That's why he made the quote unquote Board of Peace, so he can be the ruler of the Board of Peace indefinitely. That's what that is. He's just trying to get out of it to get everybody into something else that he can say that he made.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Like that. There's lots of things going on, including in the business and technology world. I saw that Intel shares eclipsed .com peak after a strong sales forecast. So it looks like that's a good thing. So maybe that's something that Sasha and others will invest that are in the investment market. But they're saying Intel stock extends its spectacular run and can see its best day in like a long time. So it looks like Intel shares are surging on an AI boom, which will surpass the .com bubble high. So it looks like maybe Intel's going to be the one to get, not NVIDIA. So I know you to some degree follow stocks and everything like that. So do you think Intel is a stock that we should get? And maybe we shouldn't get Meta because Meta is getting ready to lay off 8,000 employees amid the tech's AI-driven cut. So they're getting ready to cut a lot of people as it pours billions into AI. So would you, if you were, and this is for both of you, because I think you do invest, Kim, I'm not sure if you do, Jacoby, but would you invest in Intel and or Meta?
No, not right now. You're talking about all of this tech stuff and, Meta and Intel, and they've got the SpaceX, and, all of this is going to become a .com, drop, not boom. It's going to just explode like it did last time because nobody learns. I mean, look at us. We repeat the same BS all the time. And I just don't think any of this is worth investing in. I think it's all overinflated to begin with. And I think all you're doing by investing, the public, I think all you're doing now is investing for the top 1% to get richer. That's all you're doing.
Well, speaking of the top 1% getting richer, apparently they one of those 1%, the Bezos, are putting out their putting their money where their mouth is and everything like that. So apparently they have put together a donation where they are doubling down on their commitment to fashion and everything like that. So they are having a $34 million fashion grant that they're offering, where they are creating the Bezos Earth Fund that will award $34 million in grants to institutions studying and developing materials that might someday replace polyester and cotton. So it looks like some of the most powerful people in the world are saying that, hey, if you want some of this money and if you got an idea, we've got some money for you. So the billionaire Amazon founders of Bezos Earth Fund wants to accelerate the production of sustainable textiles. So we're going to see some new kind of textiles that are actually sustainable and not so much the polyester and the denim and the other things that are out there now and everything like that. So what's our thoughts about the Bezos trying to get people to innovate in innovations, particularly fashion innovations?
I have to wonder if this has something to do with the 3D printers and evolving more 3D printers and using product that you put into a 3D printer. Like, it'd be pretty cool to take all your empty water bottles that are plastic and throw them into a 3D printer and you make a pair of shoes or,
You can.
That's what I'm saying, but more available. Maybe that's what they're going to do is make it more available.
Yeah, that's a cheaper. That's a cost thing. And I mean, 3D printers have come down in cost. And yes, it would be nice. I mean, many schools have them now. This is actually one of the areas that I'm working on right as we speak, as a matter of fact. But yes, the 3D recycling technology is there. You can actually get 3D recycling machines and reclamation machines. Take some bottles, put it into that recycler, make some filament, and then print it all and print from that. You can do that right now. It's just an expense that people have to deal with, and that's the tough part.
Yeah.
Somebody made this for me. Look, 3D printer.
Oh wow, that was off of a 3D printer.
Hey,
That's
wow.
amazing. And that your
Oh, look at yours.
your Bulls is a
Wow.
3D
Oh my
printer.
gosh.
Yeah, that's real cool and everything like that.
Yeah,
Hey,
that is
Jacoby
cool.
and Kim, because I know both of y'all are doing meetings at all odd hours and different hours of the day. I know I do the same. Sometimes they're in the morning, sometimes they're in the evening. But there was an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal because apparently there's a museum director and he's a tastemaker in the art world. But apparently he likes to host meetings at 3 a.m. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to host a meeting at 3 a.m. Maybe the two of you are, but they say Hans Ulrich Obrist, one of the most significant
Oh, that's
tastemakers in the art world, tries to buy a book every day. So he tries to buy a book every day. And I know that Nick buys books from our store and other people do as well. But they say tall and bespectacled, he's one of the most significant tastemakers in the art world, serving as the artistic director of London's Serpentine Galleries and having mounted more than 300 museum and biennial exhibitions globally over his four-decade career. But they do say that one of his odd things that he does, including taking train street trips to meet his heroes and everything like that, is that he likes to have meetings at 3 a.m. I don't know about the two of you, but I'm not trying to have a meeting at 3 a.m. Are you trying to have a meeting at 3 a.m. or something like that? Because apparently he likes to have meetings at this odd hour of 3 a.m. And I know my it may be
I
the
had to do it when I was working international, and because the corporate offices were, other countries, and so yeah, I did some odd hour meetings. Nick said he hates those. Like he has to sometimes do odd hour meetings, and he's trying to get away from that as well because it just wears your body down. You don't get to properly sleep when your body's designed to sleep, and I think that's the biggest problem most people have today is that they're not getting the good quality sleep that they needed. But no, I'm avoiding the 3 a.m. meetings completely. They're gone.
I don't know. Yeah, how about you, Jacoby? You have any 3 a.m. meetings and everything like that, or are you trying to stay away from those?
I mean, I'm trying to stay away from them.
He's up at 3 a.m. gaming. What are you talking about?
Gaming. Right now, doing this whole convention, I'm making videos and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is killing me.
Yeah, you're up at all hours anyway. So I mean, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I see Jacoby's up. So
Yeah, I see that he's up at odd hours too. This story seems like an oxymoron. It's in the Wall Street Journal, but they're saying that Netflix Beef, which is I guess a series, is bringing class warfare to the country clubs. I thought the country clubs were based on class warfare. So they said Lee Sung-jin, the Emmy-winning creator of Netflix Beef, was skeptical when his friend offered to let him use his membership at the Tony Montecito Club. So the exclusive space overlooking the ocean in Santa Barbara, California, has an initiation fee of $500,000 with a monthly fee of about $2,500. So I'm not going to be in a member anytime soon and everything like that. But I thought that country clubs by nature were kind of like class warfare and everything like that. So I'm trying to understand it. And have you seen this film, Beef? Because you watch a lot of stuff, Joey. I never heard of this this particular show.
It's actually a show. It's on its season 2. That's what you were reading about. That was a synopsis of that. Season 1 was really good. Season 2 is probably going to be, well, I'm hoping as good as season 1. It's a different story, so I don't know how they're going to connect them or if they are going to connect them. All it really is about where two people have an issue, and it might not be around what they're talking about, the country club issue.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean that wasn't what it was about in the first season. So it's a really good show. Well worth a watch.
Well, speaking of that, and we're going to wrap up and everything like that, it looks like this is something you'll find interesting. Wall Street Journal is also saying drinks are so expensive that grown-ups are pre-gaming like they did in college. So Americans are turning to the tradition to stretch their dollars and their buzz and all along those lines. So when Julie McCarthy was a college student, she learned a time-honored budgeting tactic down in vodka in her dorm room with friends meant spending less later at the club. So it looks like this part of this notion of you actually get the drinks and down the drinks in your home or in your dorm if you're a college kid versus going out to the clubs, because we know that the club prices and the clubs in that area can be overpriced, for lack of a better term.
And the
So it
liquor
looks like this is
cabinet
a
at
new
the
trend
bar.
where you're actually doing the drinking inside. So I guess that's what pre-gaming is you're getting your drinks on before you go out to the bar
Just
and
be
everything like that.
careful because some people have a tendency of drinking too much before they leave,
Right.
and then say they might accidentally drink a little bit more. And I've been in a situation where I was with some people and someone had done that. They kind of pre-gamed before they went out and went ahead and had some, and they literally just, we were at dinner and they just literally passed out right there and almost had a heart attack. So just be careful with the pre-gaming. I would just say drink less.
Right.
Find a sort of craziness within your brain without alcohol. I've done it and it's great actually, and you don't wake up with a hangover. What I've learned is you could go out, not drink a thing, everyone else is drunk, they don't know you're not, and you can act stupid crazy with a sane mind, drive home and not be sick the next day, and that's kind of fun too.
Well, I
So
told you what I used to love doing, Kim, when I was in college, and that was way back in the '80s. But I did go to a college that was known for its beer drinking. Milwaukee is a beer town, and my parents were wine drinkers and everything like that. So I used to like to be the odd man out. So I would go into the bars and would maybe order a wine, and a lot of times because wineries and the craft beers and craft wines were not as popular back then and everything like that. So it was my way of probably maybe partially honoring what I knew because my parents were wine drinkers and still are good, have a good bottle of wine every once in a while like that. And also just be different than the regular beer drinkers because I did not necessarily want to get into the beers that they were into, even though I did become a fan of Heineken and other beers. But I did like to be a little bit on the different side by ordering wine versus the beers and all in that
what
space.
I find is just about any of that stuff is made so poorly in the United States with so much sedatives that you get sick even if you don't drink much from it. You get bad headaches. And I've learned that when I have the same products in another country, there's no headache. So, you know, the US just to me doesn't make the quality of alcohol content that I prefer drinking because of the headache that it lives. Speaking of alcohol, I'm getting ready to go where it flows quite
You're going
fluently
to
in
Kentucky
bourbon
Derby where the
country.
whiskey, bourbon country.
Yeah,
Where
the bourbon and whiskey country. Pod TV has been approved to attend the Kentucky Derby. We had to go through some clearances. And I just received my credentials Tuesday. I'm very excited. Probably spending way too much time trying to figure out what hat to wear. But this will be our first year attending. Hopefully, there'll be more to come. But yeah, they call this the world's most exciting 2-minute sport.
Yep.
I'm sure that there's other things involved with it, as we all know. It's a whole week of events, kind of like the Super Bowl pregame that week that I go to. It's going to be interesting to see how this is different than some of the other programs that we do. But it's an honor to be accepted by an organization like the Kentucky Derby, and I'm looking forward to it. And I hope I see everyone. Will be beaming in and out occasionally to talk to you and share with you what's going on.
Hey, just really quickly, and I'm going to end the show and everything along those lines. So we do have Ukraine, Russia, China coming up, everything, all those lines. But Jacoby, you followed and you used to work for them for a hot minute and everything. I did see that the Hurricanes jumped up 3-0, so I guess we are very good, safe for saying that they're going to make it to the next round, even though nothing is impossible. So they could come back from 4 and win for a 4-game sweep the wrong way and everything. But I'm thinking that they're safe to make it to the next round. What's your take on this and everything like that? Because I'm thinking that they're safe to make it to the next round, probably to play. Maybe that'd be the Pittsburgh team, or I forgot who's in on that series.
I'm more focused on seeing if Victor Wembanyama is coming back.
I understand.
Yep. I think it's going to be great. Thank you for watching, everyone. And we'll see you Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on World Edition with Mark Lee. Thanks for watching. Mark, I'll let you wrap.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show, and all along those lines, going to start the Ukraine show right now and everything like that. So hopefully everybody will enjoy Dr. Jonathan Lockwood. I don't think that Ivan will be attending and everything like that. Going on in the area around the whole notion of Russia, Ukraine, China, and maybe even some conversation around Iran and the Middle East as well. But right now, let's get on out of here. We'll have another world edition on Monday. I am trying to line up some guests for next week as well. So have a good one.